All the characters in the story are over 18 years old. I had an old nightmare again. It's like I'm alone again. All alone. Like back then. It seems that I have no one in the whole wide world. I walk the streets, look into the eyes of girls. But they all avert their gazes, turn away their frowning faces and quickly pass by. When I wake up, I'm surprised. So many years have passed since then. It's been a long time since this happened. Because there is no reason. I have a girlfriend who understands me and supports me in everything. And of course, another beloved person, the sun and the guiding star, the sister. I wonder why I dreamed this now. Why do I dream about it at all? Maybe as a reminder not to forget and appreciate the most precious things? It was a very difficult time for me then. However, heavy is not the word that would convey my condition. Now, of course, I don't think it was that bad. Now, to be honest, the sorrows of that time generally seem like nonsense to me. But then I was too young and inexperienced. And it seemed to me that the whole world was collapsing around me. Everything seems to look the same as always. But in fact, there is nothing reliable left, nothing that can be grasped. The world, without changing externally, became scary, black, and cold. I was like a grain of sand caught in the millstone of fate. Fate is completely indifferent to your feelings. And these millstones will spin, grinding everything in a row. Regardless of whether the grain of sand resists or not, everything seemed somehow distant and unimportant. Studies, entertainment, old worries. I didn't want anything and didn't care about anything. I looked at my classmates, at passers-by on the streets, and did not understand how they could be happy about something, worry about something. What is all this for? What had pleased me before now seemed so small that it was unclear how I could pay attention to it. It was like I was floating in a cold void. Friends and classmates, of course, noticed my condition. Sometimes they even wondered why I was like this and what had happened to me. But I indifferently replied that I was fine, it seemed to them, and everything like that. That was usually enough to get me off my back. In general, their friends didn't really care about my condition. They had enough worries and problems of their own. By and large, they didn't give a damn about me, as well as passers-by on the streets. Just like my parents, there is not a single person left in the whole world whom I could trust and at least just tell about my problems. The parents fell out first. Before that, it seemed to me that they loved me and cared about me. But then there was a quarrel with the housing. The parents had decided sometime before to privatize their 3-room apartment. It turned out that by law the apartment belongs to everyone who is registered in it. Equal parts of the apartment should have gone not only to my father and mother, but also to me. And Olivia, my sister. My mother quickly convinced us to refuse to participate in the privatization. I don't remember exactly what she said to me now. Something like, well, you know that it's all yours and your sister anyway, and this way you don't have to go to the authorities and draw up papers. Why do you need this? My father only agreed. I agreed without hesitation. After all, parents are the closest people. How can they cheat? Olivia must have been told the same thing. She refused too. As a result, my parents became the owners of our apartment. There was nothing wrong with that. However, a year and a half later, when I decided to bring my girlfriend home during the absence of my parents and told my mother about it, she unexpectedly resisted. What are you going to do here? I was very surprised. What's the difference? We'll just be together. And what's that like? What if you make a mess here and God knows what to do? I won't let you. Come back when my father and I are at home. It amazed me. Of course, we were just going to do that very thing. Therefore, there was no point in coming when the parents would be at home. And the mother continued, I have a decent house here, not a red light district. I won't let you. I tried to object. But you said that it was all mine and my sister's when you persuaded me to refuse to participate in the privatization. There must be a reasonable limit to everything. Anyway, you can live here, because no one is kicking you out. So what are you unhappy about? I took it as a betrayal. I didn't make a scene. I just moved into the dormitory of the institute, where I had a place in the room. And almost immediately after that, my girlfriend, Rebecca, left for another one. Rebecca and I dated for 6 months. It doesn't seem to be for long. However, Rebecca was the first girl I had a serious relationship with. It was difficult for me to start a relationship at all. I was a closed and shy guy back then. And with her, it seemed to me that this was true love, immediately and for life. That we will always be together, supporting each other in everything. She will never leave me, and she will never betray me, just like I will betray her. And everything seemed to be fine. And then suddenly it turned out that Rebecca thinks very differently, and that she decided to go back to her ex-boyfriend, whom she scolded more than once when communicating with me, whom she accused of cheating, and who turned out to be better than me in the end. And I had to hear what all guys hate so much: let's just be friends. The people I thought were closest to me just pushed me aside. Everything around seemed somehow shaky and ephemeral. Nothing in the world could be relied on anymore. No, of course, I wasn't going to jump off a roof or do anything like that. And I didn't cry. Just somehow, I slept with my eyes open, or something. It seemed that all this was not happening to me. It seemed like some kind of nightmare. I'll wake up and everything will be fine again. But the awakening still did not come. And of course I knew it wasn't coming. I was lucky then that all this happened in the summer and not during the session. Otherwise, probably, in addition to all my troubles at that time, I would also have been expelled from the institute, because I definitely wouldn't be able to study in such a state. I don't remember how long it lasted. It seemed to me then that an eternity had passed in this nightmare. But in reality, of course, not much time has passed. And then suddenly everything stopped at once. Rebecca called me. I thought back then, maybe she decided to come back? And for a second my heart stood still in joyful expectation. What a fool I was then. Now, of course, even if Rebecca begged me on her knees to start a relationship again, I would just smile and leave. But then I was filled with hope, which, however, immediately went out. She found my flash drive somewhere, which I gave her with some music. She forgot to give it to me then, and now offered to take it away. To be honest, I wasn't bothered by the flash drive then, like everything else. Nevertheless, for some reason I felt ashamed to tell Rebecca this. And we agreed to meet the next day, at a cafe nearby. I didn't really want to go to this meeting. I thought that she would certainly come to the cafe with her boyfriend. And when I get there, I'll be under their eyes like I've been spat on. Everyone will see that a loser is coming. The guy who got dumped. But what can I do? Since I agreed, I have to go. Or should I call her and tell her that I have urgent business? I don't have time at all. I don't need a flash drive, and offer to throw it in the nearest trash can? But then I suddenly felt sorry for the flash drive. Not in the way that people usually regret an expensive thing that could still be used. I remembered the childhood belief that things also have a soul and feelings. This flash drive has always served me faithfully. And even now, it's like he's trying to bring Rebecca back to me. Will I put it in the trash? No, no way. I am not such a traitor as all those who turn their backs on me. There's no way I'm leaving even this little flash drive. Even if these childish fantasies about the soul of things are complete nonsense, we must go despite the fact that it will be bad there. At the moment when I was busy with these gloomy thoughts, my sister suddenly came to visit me. Hello. Here, I was passing by, and I decided to stop by your place to see how you're doing. Hello. I looked at her. Olivia was standing next to him. Beautiful, slender figure, long shiny black hair. Like a fashion model. Here someone will get happiness. I had the feeling that I was not sitting here in my room, but watching some kind of movie, in which a beautiful girl worries about the main character who is in a difficult situation. But this hero is not me. How are you doing? Everything is fine. You've been sad lately. Are you still sad about your Rebecca? No, it's okay. I thought, why should I explain anything to her? Why answer anything at all? Anyway, her questions are just a formality. Therefore, the sooner these issues stop, the better. Although it was strange, she didn't seem to have anything to do in this area. Why did she come here? Probably to a store of some kind. Olivia sat down next to me on the bed and suddenly hugged me. It was unexpected. I didn't know how to react and just froze for a while. And she just held me in her arms, not letting go and not saying anything. My relationship with my sister was hardly ideal. I didn't really like her when I was a kid. Moreover, I didn't like is an understatement. My parents have been telling me since I was very young that I should take care of her because I'm a boy, because I'm older, and all that. She got all the best. I was forced to walk with her, help her figure out her school lessons. If it was necessary to send someone somewhere, for example to the store or take out the trash, it turned out to be me again. She's a girl. If someone offended my sister at school, then I got it. Where was I looking? He could have protected me. So what if I'm in another class? There's only one school. At first, all this really pissed me off. I wanted my sister to suddenly disappear from my life forever. Then the relationship more or less returned to normal. My parents still made me help my sister with everything and look after her. But Olivia was always good. She shared what she had and didn't gossip. When I explained to her some difficult topic in physics or mathematics, she listened attentively and tried to figure it out. When I protected her from someone, she always thanked me very sincerely. Her parents used to scold her for something, too, and then I began to sympathize with her. And in high school, she started having love stories. Despite the fact that I'm older, I didn't have anything like that then, and my sister's experiences seemed naive and stupid to me. But she was really suffering, and I saw it. And I felt truly sorry for her. I sat with her, comforted her, wiped away tears, listened to her stories that she loved John so much, and he was joking with her, and he was dating another girl, about how John finally agreed to date her, and she was ready for anything, but he left her and went back to another one, and so on and so forth. I told my sister that she was very beautiful and would become even more beautiful, as it turned out later, and she would have a bunch of guys better than each other, and she would only choose, and all in the same spirit. Then it seemed to me that I would not have such experiences. Naive. Then I went to college. In my first year, my studies were especially difficult, and I spent most of my time poring over textbooks and a computer. They began to communicate with their sister much less. Then my sister graduated from high school and enrolled in another institute. Her love affairs somehow subsided by themselves. And now Olivia is sitting next to me. I didn't tell her anything. Just a few days ago, he said that he had broken up with a girl, and that was it. I didn't want to vent my feelings to anyone at all. Why, if no one cares anyway? So I just sat there and didn't know what to do. I should have packed up and gone to Rebecca. Time passed, and I sat there. And for some reason, I couldn't tell Olivia to let me go. It suddenly occurred to me that if Rebecca saw me now, she would be jealous. She had never seen Olivia. Anyway, I never told her that I had a sister. Rebecca once asked if I was the only one in the family, but I didn't hear it at the time and wondered if she was asking if I was alone in the dorm room. He replied that he did. Then it seemed inconvenient to correct. So Rebecca doesn't know about my sister's existence. Continuing this thought, I thought, maybe I should go to a cafe with my sister? Rebecca might think that this is my new girlfriend, and I won't look like a loser anymore. But how will the sister react to this? I asked. Listen, Olivia, but you couldn't. What? Olivia raised her head and looked into my eyes intently. I froze for a few seconds, as if stopped by her gaze. Olivia has gray eyes. Gray, like a cloudy sky. I looked into them and didn't know how to explain what I wanted to ask her. My thoughts were confused for some reason. I began to think that this was a rare combination. Black hair, and gray eyes. Such girls are rare. And my sister continued to look at me in silence and wait. Finally, gathering my thoughts together, I said, Could you go to a place with me? Yes, of course. Of course I will. And where to? I explained where and why. The explanation came out somehow confused. I didn't want to say that I was afraid of looking like a loser in the eyes of my ex and her boyfriend. I just said that I wanted Olivia to come with me and that Rebecca didn't know I had a sister. Olivia didn't ask me for details. We quickly packed up and went. On the way out of the house, Olivia took my hand. I looked at her. The sister smiled and said, It would be better if we looked like lovers, wouldn't it? Then she'll definitely think I'm your girlfriend. Yes, of course. I thought to myself, how did she know that I wanted Rebecca to mistake her for my new girlfriend? Is it really from my incoherent speeches? For some reason, I didn't feel so sad anymore. The cafe had huge full-length windows. There weren't many people inside. Even through the tinted windows, I immediately saw Rebecca. To my surprise, the guy wasn't with her. She was sitting alone, sipping a drink from a glass through a straw and looking at something lying on the table, either a magazine or a cafe menu. I opened the door, letting my sister go ahead. Once inside, she turned to me, smiled and held out her hand. We held hands again. I thought that Olivia was looking at me in such a way that one glance would take her for a girl in love with her boyfriend. Rebecca saw us from her seat, too. Even from the entrance, you could see how surprised she was. Her eyes widened so much that she looked like the heroine of one of the Japanese anime cartoons. But she quickly got over her emotions. When we approached her desk, she already looked as usual. She just didn't take her eyes off us. She looked at me and then at her sister. "Hi, Rebecca. Meet Olivia. Olivia is Rebecca." "It's a pleasure," Rebecca said, although, judging by her appearance, she was not particularly pleased. "Likewise," the sister replied, smiling broadly. Rebecca seemed genuinely pleased by her surprise. Rebecca put the flash drive out of her purse on the table. "Thanks. Please." I took the flash drive and put it in my pocket. "Well, we'll go. We have to go to another place. Bye." Bye. On the way out of the cafe, my sister suddenly stopped me. "She's looking at us through the window. I thought if I kissed you, it would be even better, right?" "Yes, that's right." I hugged Olivia too. Now she is absolutely sure that we are in love. My heart felt better. The depression has subsided. The meeting with Rebecca didn't go the way I thought it would. Everything was much better. I didn't look like a loser at all, more like a winner. Even if it wasn't really like that at all, but still, Olivia kept hugging me. It was warm and peaceful. I suddenly wanted to thank her in some way. "Let's go to the supermarket. Do you need something? I wanted to buy you a sea cocktail." "You love him." "No, don't. It's expensive, and you probably don't have much money anyway." There really wasn't much money, but I really wanted to make my sister feel good. I pushed her towards the entrance of the store, but she suddenly began to resist. Don't. It won't get down my throat to think that you'll be eating nothing but empty pasta later." I stopped, and Olivia, laughing, said, "We've already gone to the cafe." "Are you kidding? We didn't order anything there." "So what?" But what a funny face Rebecca had when she saw us. Olivia laughed even louder and grabbed my hand and pulled me on. Holding hands, we arrived at the hostel. I thought that now we don't have to pretend to be in love anymore. But it was nice to hold my sister's hand. When we entered the room, I was suddenly overcome with sadness again. After all, Olivia is not my girlfriend. She's going to leave now. I really didn't want to be alone. I asked, Will you sit with me?" "Yes, of course." "What are you standing for?" Olivia asked. "You are very beautiful," I said. For some reason, it was difficult to say this. I thought I must look stupid right now, squeezing out the words. But I really wanted to say it. "Very, very beautiful, like a princess from a fairy tale." "Thanks." The sister smiled and lowered her eyes. "I also really liked it when you kissed me. I liked kissing you too. And if you want, I can do it as much as I want. Just say the word. If you want, I can do more than kiss you." "You can. Whatever you want. Just say the word." What if I misunderstood? Although there is another way to understand it. But what if Olivia had meant something completely different? She continued, "After all, your neighbor has left now, and no one will come here, right? There could be no other thoughts now." Then Olivia said softly, "Come to me." We made love. A terrible thought suddenly flashed through my head, that my sister was going to say something like, "What have you done, you idiot? I'm your sister." I froze in horror. I think I even stopped breathing. Then I suddenly thought that it would all turn out to be a dream, and I'll wake up on my bed alone, and I'll have to go to Rebecca alone. But the sensations were too real. My room, my bed, a ray of light illuminating a dusty corner. Without turning her head to me, Olivia asked quietly, "Did you have a good time with me?" "It was just fabulously good with you. I love you. And I love you too." I thought that the word love does not fully describe my feelings for her. That's what everyone says. And the newlyweds who will get divorced in a year. And the students in love who in a month will become indifferent to each other. And my sister. She has suddenly become my whole world for me now. But I didn't know how to put it into words. She wanted to say, "You saved me." And that would probably be true. But for some reason I couldn't say it. Another thought immediately flashed through, to say, "Don't leave me." But I didn't say that either. At that moment, I felt like some kind of small defenseless animal curled up in her arms. Strange. After all, she is a girl, and I am a pumped-up young man. But she's the one saving me, not me saving her. When I came out of the bathroom, Olivia was sitting on the bed and brushing her wet hair. She had already put on my shirt and buttoned it up. Because of the height difference, it turned out to be something like a tunic. She smiled and looked at me. I sat down next to him. Olivia, and you? Won't you leave? I didn't know exactly what I was asking myself. One question combined. Won't you become as alien and cold again as before? Won't you disappear from my life for a long time? Although, if you think about it, my sister has never been a stranger and cold. And she was there all the time. She was genuinely trying to take care of me. It's just that I didn't believe her. I don't know if she understood me. I thought I understood. She just replied, "No, I'm not leaving. Do you want me to stay the night with you?" "Yes, I do. Really want to." After thinking about it, I asked, "And why are you?" Then he wanted to say, "Made love to me," but he couldn't turn his tongue. And I just blunted, not knowing how to continue, and fell silent. But Olivia understood for herself. "I don't even know how to explain it. I just watched you suffer, and you tell me that everything is fine with you." It hurt, but I didn't know what to do. And then when you asked me to go with you, when I started impersonating your girlfriend, suddenly, at some point, a thought flashed through my head. I thought if we had that, maybe I could help you. So what if you're my brother? But maybe you would understand how much I love you. I realized that I could be trusted. He would have opened up to me. It's so painful to watch the person you love suffer, and you can't do anything. I was afraid that you would push me away, say something like, "What are you, a fool? We are brother and sister." And I thought that even if you push me away, you should try. I can't just look at it anymore. It breaks my heart. And here, in the room, somehow everything worked out by itself. Suddenly, for some reason, tears began to flow down my cheeks. I began to cry, childishly, with sobs. "I'll always be there for you when you need help. You can cry out an ocean of tears, and I'll still hug you. Just don't hide from me, okay? Tell me about your problems, okay?" I just sat next to her in silence and cried. I don't know how much time passed when my ocean of tears ended. Probably a lot, because it was already getting dark outside the window. Then we had dinner together. We ate pasta with sausages. We drank tea with cookies. Everything is the cheapest. I didn't have anything else, but I felt like it was a royal feast. After dinner, we went for a walk. We walked the streets at night holding hands. It was already quite dark, but I had a feeling as if everything was bathed in a bright, dazzlingly bright glow. All my suffering poured out with my tears. My heart felt light and good. No matter what happens next, I'm not alone anymore. And then, from the dark depths of the memory of loneliness and suffering, a calm, firm determination suddenly melted out. No matter what happens, I have to become strong. Strong and rich. To protect her and take care of her. Now I have a purpose in life. I want to protect her from all difficulties and make her happy. Her, my only and beloved, my sister. I will stop at nothing to achieve this. I will study and work around the clock, but I will make her happy. Of course, if I had told Olivia about it then, she would have replied something like, "You fool, I'm happy as it is." And of course, it wouldn't change my mind. When we returned to the dorm, I felt like it again. But I didn't even think about telling Olivia about it. For some reason, it seemed selfish to tell her about my desire. After all, it has already happened twice today. She must be tired. But my sister seemed to guess my wish. Or maybe she wanted to too. She looked at me and smiled and asked, "Do you want anything? Don't be shy. Speak up." "Yes. Come on." And we repeated these actions again. I felt very good. I was getting sleepy. I thought again that I wanted to give her the whole world. But so far I have absolutely nothing to give her. And therefore I have to work and work again to become rich and strong. Olivia whispered in my ear, "Don't hide your feelings from me anymore, okay? I'll always help you. Just don't shut me out. Promise?" "Yes. And you too. Okay?" "Of course." After a while, Rebecca asked me to meet her. She told me that she was very sad. That her boyfriend turned out to be such an asshole. Well, such an asshole. I listened to her, feigned interest, nodded, said, "Yeah, it happens. Yes, really a goat. Well, don't worry. Life will definitely get better." And so on in the same spirit. And then, of course, he ran to his sister. Maybe Rebecca wanted to hint to me then that she was ready to date me again. Or maybe she didn't want to. She just needed someone to complain about her boyfriend. I didn't even think about it then. For a while, my sister and I behaved like ordinary lovers. At first, we lived together in my dorm room. Then, when the beginning of the school year began to approach, and with it the arrival of my classmates, they moved to their parents. I made up with my parents. No, of course, I didn't say anything. And the relationship has not become the same. It's just that the anger itself somehow passed. Olivia didn't refuse me anything. I was ready to do anything for her, too. My determination did not go away with time. Both in my studies and in my part-time job, I tried my best. Therefore, I graduated from the institute with a red diploma, and by the time I graduated, I was already expected to have a good job in my specialty. And there I worked hard, worked like a galley slave. Thanks to this, later, over time, I was able to fulfill my dream. I gave my sister an apartment, a good car, and trips to all sorts of islands. Olivia and I understood from the very beginning that you can't build a normal family on this. Therefore, we also had relationships with others. We even discussed this relationship together. For some reason, there was no jealousy. On the contrary, they were happy for each other. My sister had a regular boyfriend almost immediately after graduation. He fell head over heels in love with her and quickly proposed to her. His sister hinted at him at first, and then bluntly told him that she had another man and she could not refuse to meet with him. But her admirer replied that he loved her so much that he was ready for anything, and even for my sister to have another man. Then his sister told him about us, and he, as he said, asked her to marry him anyway. Now they have a family, a child. Her husband and I are friends. Despite the fact that he knows about our relationship with his sister, he says that he is not jealous. Things weren't going so well for me. There were girls, and quite a few, but I did not feel from them the love and support that my sister gave me. Therefore, none of them seemed to me suitable for a long-term relationship. It was only recently that I managed to find someone I wanted to trust completely. Now my chosen one also knows about my relationship with my sister, and he doesn't mind them either. Smiling, I turn over on my other side. I remember that time. I remember my sister. And again this feeling arises. Happiness, like a bright radiance that does not disappear even in the dark,